And what great mind decided to move forward with all of this? This guy, DUI hire. Oh, I see they moved from Secretary of War Crimes. I guess he got two names now. And if you think that might be harsh, either DUI hire or Secretary of War Crimes, consider the fact that he literally telegraphed this entire play. He can't even take offense as Secretary of War Crimes because he declared it himself. Shout out to all the subscribers and the members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. My name is Reese Waters, and this is Racist of the Week, where we explore the stupidity and hypocrisy of discrimination in hopes we can build a more perfect union. And also laugh. As usual, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Racism. And of course, if you have any nominees, you can drop them in the comments. You can email me at admin@reesewaters.com. Now, it's time we talk about the military.
Hey! Come on. Come on. Hey! Scrolling through the chaos on the internet streets. Reese Waters pops up with the truth and receipts. Sharp wit, big laugh, calling nonsense out loud. Turning awkward silence into lessons for the crowd. It's the Racist of the Week. Yeah, you know the routine. Reese breaking it down so the message is seen. Smart jokes, quick clips, making history speak. Holding up the mirror. Racist of the Week. From a joke to a lesson in a matter of beats. Reese Waters keeps the timeline on his feet.
It might come to that. Today's nominee, this guy.
Down goes Hegseth, Duncan Dad on New Year's Eve.
Gunner Gossip.
Now, like a lot of you, I had seen the reports. Pete Hegseth blocks reports for black soldiers because he didn't want Trump to have to stand next to him in case they played music. He didn't want to dance and have him just be missing a beat next to the black people. Or Pete Hegseth blocks promotion of female officers because Trump couldn't be trusted to stand next to them. Who knows what he might grab or do? I had seen those reports and I was waiting for them to be confirmed and corroborated before I ran with it. And little did I know, Hegseth purge of black and women officers larger than previously reported. Hegseth has taken steps to block or delay promotions for more than a dozen black and female senior officers across all four branches of the military. Now, wait a minute. That doesn't sound very merit-based to me, does it? That doesn't sound very merit-based. Is this the merit-based society they've been telling me that they wanted? Black MAGA? Black MAGA. Come on down. Black MAGA, FBA MAGA, black conservatives, y'all need to explain to the community what your guys' administration is doing. 300,000 black people fired from federal jobs, removing black history from museums, black unemployment spiking. Now this, you owe us an explanation. Oh, don't hold your breath. We have yet to get an explanation from Black MAGA about anything that's happened since January of 2025. But if I know Black MAGA, they probably running to enlist. Ain't that right? Huh? Don't y'all want to run and sign up and support your boy? He done raised the age to 86 now. Yeah, you could sign up. You could be decades into Social Security and sign up now. But ain't no shortage of interest though. That ain't it.
I'm 56 years old.
Damn. I'm sorry.
The Army Chief of Staff, a combat veteran with tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, asked Pete Hegseth why he was blocking the promotions of 2 black officers and 2 female officers who had earned them. Hegseth refused to answer. Then he fired him. Oh yeah, that's right. It's not enough for me to be racist and sexist. I will fire you for refusing to be racist and sexist. That's how open they are with it.
So now we know why Pete Hegseth fired General Randy George, the Army Chief of Staff. he would not go along with his racist plan to refuse promotions to a bunch of women and minorities who were clearly qualified. And he did the right thing and he stood up for them. Obviously, discrimination in promotions in the military is illegal. It violates due process, equal protection, on and on and on, a bunch of different military regulations. But that's what it is. He's firing people that we need who have been in a critical position in the middle of war because he's so damn racist. All right? And you have a situation now where Trump is fired Pam Bondi and he's desperate, and you can tell by the way he's acting. And we're getting rid of somebody like this, and when we're about to go into an escalation spiral, it's the worst possible thing you could do.
Hegseth has now fired or sidelined more than a dozen generals and admirals. He's an out-of-control, unqualified former TV host, and nobody in the Republican Party will say a word about it because they don't want to make Trump angry. Ah, yes, if there's anything so synonymous with MAGA, it would be cowardice. That's definitely who you want in charge. But there's another thing synonymous with MAGA, and that's the fact that it literally always gets worse. Hegseth broke protocol to block women and black officers' promotion. Wait a minute, you mean this guy?
Down goes Hegseth, Duncan Dad on New Year's Eve.
Broke protocol? That's nuts. Well, if it ain't for protocol, then what really do you have? Huh. I guess that whole honor, discipline, chain of command, warrior ethos is right out the window. Now, isn't it? Now hold on. Let me check something real quick. How veterans voted in the 2024 election. 65% went to Trump. Huh. I guess the discipline and protocol and all that wasn't that important. And don't worry, we'll circle back around to that.
Today, Pete Hegseth fired 3 more senior military commanders from the Department of Defense, bringing the total to about 20 over the last year. First of all, who these folks are, they are some of our most experienced, dedicated military commanders with hundreds of years of experience between them. Some of them have 10-plus combat deployments over the last 20 years. And removing these people without cause, without notice, without any replacement in many cases is putting our service members at great risk. We are a nation at war right now. There are tremendous risks facing America, our homeland, our service members around the world, and he is simply purging senior military ranks because he thinks that these folks are not loyal to him personally or to Donald Trump. Secondly, we are putting our nation at great risk by sending the message to our military that it doesn't matter what you do, how hard you work, how dedicated you are, that if you're not loyal to Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump, none of that matters. You know, that is a terrible message to send. It is making us less safe. And frankly, it is just a terrible way to treat people who have dedicated their lives in service to our nation, these servant leaders. They deserve better. America deserves better, and our service members deserve better.
It's so bad, even Fox News couldn't cover it.
General George is now out, was asked to retire yesterday. He's a personal friend of yours. What do we lose when we lose General George?
He's a generational chief of staff, as far as I'm concerned. I haven't seen anybody quite like him. He's got the intelligence. He's got the discipline. His warfighting experience is enormous. He's got the warrior ethos, and he's transforming the Army and taking it into the new technology and warfare that is so changing.
Right.
The truth is he's leading the other services in most of all of that. Right. And I don't agree with his dismissal for sure because of what he's doing to the Army and the change it's impacting the department writ large.
That's what I've heard too. General, it was great to see you. Good luck at the Yankee game today and keeping up with everything. Thanks so much for coming in.
Yeah, great being here.
And just so we're clear, because it bears repeating, this is the man who we have firing high-level military officials who we haven't seen anything like. This guy.
You serious?
Now, the question would have to be asked, well, why? Now, obviously, we know about them refusing to go along with the blocking of the promotions, just straight naked racism and sexism. But going with this kind of a widespread purge while we're actively engaged in a war doesn't seem to be the move now, does it? 3 total generals fired today. They are refusing to put troops in Iran. Now, that would make sense. Now, that would make sense. You do not fire your Army Chief of Staff in the middle of a war for no reason. You fire him because of what comes next. Pete Hegseth called General Randy George on April 2nd and told him to retire immediately. The Pentagon confirmed it. No reason was given, not publicly, not privately. A senior Army official told Fox News that Hegseth offered George nothing. No misconduct, no operational failure, no policy disagreement on the record, just a phone call and a career ending in the middle of one of the most significant American combat operations in 2 decades. George is the 24th general or admiral Hegseth has removed, but he's not the 24th. He's the one that matters. The Army Chief of Staff, the man whose signature sits between a president's intent and the order that sends soldiers across a beach or into a tunnel complex. The replacement is Vice Chief General Christopher LaNave. He was Hegseth's senior military aide before his appointment. The man who carried the secretary's briefcase now commands the army the secretary is reshaping. The chain of command did not break, it shortened. The distance between a television studio and a combat order just collapsed to 0 intermediaries who were not personally selected by the man giving the order. A former Fox News weekend host just fired a 4-star general with combat tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, replaced him with his own former assistant, and did it during a live war in which the next decision could put American soldiers on Iranian soil for the first time in history. No hearing was held, no misconduct cited. The Army woke up on April 3rd with a new chief it didn't choose in a war it didn't start, preparing for a phase the previous chief apparently couldn't be trusted to execute. The question is not why George was fired. Every general in the building knows why. The question is what order is coming in the next 14 days that required removing the one man in the chain of command who might have said no. The war has no perimeter. The chain of command has no objectors, and the next phase has no one left to stop it. And amen to that. As for those soldiers that are still in place, they seem to have their eyes wide open about all of this. Here's what some active duty Marines are calling Pete Hegseth's Pentagon, and it doesn't make him look good. Hegseth wanted to be called the Secretary of War instead of Secretary of Defense. Now his own troops have a different title in mind. Rep. Seth Moulton, a Marine combat veteran who actually served in Iraq, unlike the Fox News host currently running the Pentagon, dropped a bombshell this week. I know active duty Marines who now refer to Pete Hegseth's department as the Department of War Crimes. The list is staggering. Airstrikes in Yemen that allegedly hit residential buildings, killing at least 224 civilians, strike on Iranian nuclear facilities of questionable legality under both domestic and international law, an alleged no survivors attack order issued against vessels in the Caribbean, a lightning invasion of Venezuela launched without congressional authorization, and now Trump's announced intention to target Iranian civilian energy infrastructure. The same playbook Moulton noted pointedly that the United States spent years condemning Vladimir Putin for using in Ukraine. That's right. It's also the exact same playbook for how to start a terrorist group for dummies. You just instilled anti-American sentiment that can fester for decades. You think we're spending a lot of money on defense now. Imagine what we're going to have to spend moving forward with the memory of all of this. And what great mind decided to move forward with all of this? This guy, DUI hire. Oh, I see they moved from Secretary of War Crimes. I guess he got 2 names now. And if you think that might be harsh, either DUI hire or Secretary of War Crimes, consider the fact that he literally telegraphed this entire play. He can't even take offense as Secretary of War Crimes because he declared it himself.
We are preparing Every day, we have to be prepared for war, not for defense. We're training warriors, not defenders. We fight wars to win, not to defend. Defense is something you do all the time. It's inherently reactionary and can lead to overuse, overreach, and mission creep. War is something you do sparingly, on our own terms, and with clear aims. We fight to win. We unleash overwhelming and punishing violence on the enemy. We also don't fight with stupid rules of engagement. We untie the hands of our warfighters to intimidate, demoralize, hunt, and kill the enemies of our country. No more politically correct and overbearing rules of engagement. Just common sense, maximum lethality, and authority for warfighters.
Now, I'm trying to understand the tactical strategy of admitting publicly that you want to do away with rules of engagement. What would be the tactical strategy of you going in to play pickup game with a jersey that just says "I cheat" in the back? You walk into Spades with a two-way mirror and a selfie stick. What is the strategic advantage to admitting off jump that you don't respect rules of engagement? Well, it sure makes our soldiers safer now, don't it?
There is a military spouse or a military family frantically calling their loved one over and over and over again, feeling the pit in their stomach get bigger and bigger with every single unanswered call, as they slowly realize that it's likely that their loved one was the pilot in that plane that hasn't been found yet. And thanks to Dear Leader and Pete the Drunkard making it very clear that the United States has no intention of following the rules of engagement, of following international law around warfare, that military spouse or that military family are having to contend with the knowledge that there is a bounty on their loved one's head, and that there aren't just two possible outcomes here. There's a third one, that it's not just alive or dead, it's alive, dead, or captured. And that if it's captured, there is a solid possibility that they're being tortured to death as we speak. Because when the commander-in-chief, when the Secretary of Defense goes out in front of the world to tell other countries that the United States will not be following rules of engagement, will not respect international law around warfare, when they go out in front of cameras and say things like, we are going to bring down maximum brutality and pain, when they spend more than the last year repeatedly ordering war crimes, double tapping boats and schools and bridges and God knows what else, we're sending the message to other countries that they also don't have to follow the rules of engagement. Every time they do that, they are putting service members at greater risk. All for what? So that the Fox News crowd can feel a little tingle in their downstairs when they get to hear them talk tough on television? Is that how little the lives of service members matter to you? Rules of engagement aren't just something that we follow to protect other people, although that is, frankly, just as important of a reason. They're something we follow because they also keep our service members safe. When we tell other countries how we intend to treat them, we are also telling them how they are allowed to treat us. And I don't know why that is a lesson that so many Americans seem completely opposed to learning. And now there is a military family out there bearing the weight of that irresponsibility and glee at the thought of cruelty.
Now, given Pete Hegseth's track record while sitting in this seat, apparently putting together that there was no tactical advantage of that and that he made life for not only soldiers, but also for Americans more dangerous is probably too high a bar for me to expect from him. I mean, what haven't we seen from him up to this point?
All starts with physical fitness and appearance. If the Secretary of War can do regular, hard PT, so can every member of our joint force. It's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. It is bad, and it's not who we are.
Unless Gavin Newsom claps back, I guess the commander-in-chief needs to go. And a reminder from his confirmation.
Many of your work colleagues have said that you show up for work under the influence of alcohol or drunk. I know you've denied that, but you would agree with me, right, that if that was the case, that would be disqualifying for somebody to be Secretary of Defense.
Senator, those are all anonymous false claims, and the totality.
They're not anonymous.
The letters on the record here.
They're not anonymous.
On the record,
we've seen records with names
Vets
attached
for Freedom,
to them.
Concerned Vets for America, and Fox News
One of your colleagues
working
said,
hard every day on behalf.
One of your
mission.
colleagues said that you got drunk at an event at a bar and chanted, "Kill all Muslims." Another colleague, not anonymous, we have this, said that you took co-workers to a strip club. You were drunk, you tried to dance with strippers, you had to be held off the stage, and one of your employees in that event filed a sexual harassment charge as a result of it. Now, I know you denied these things, but isn't that the kind of behavior that, if true, would be disqualifying for somebody to be Secretary of Defense?
Senator, anonymous false charges.
They're not anonymous. And I'll just conclude and say this to the chairman. You claim that this was all anonymous. We have seen records with names attached to all of these, including the name of your own mother. So don't make this into some anonymous press thing.
Yeah, Congress. That MAGA cowardice is going great. It's going really great. He's progressed. He's grown in the role all the way from that to this, yelling at reporters for Trump's own words.
Because you, and I mean specifically you, the press, specifically you, the press corps, because you cheer against Trump so hard. It's like in your DNA and in your blood to cheer against Trump because you want him not to be successful so bad. You have to cheer against the efficacy of these strikes. You have to hope maybe they weren't effective. Maybe the way the Trump administration has represented them isn't true. So let's take half-truths, spun information, leaked information, and then spin it. Spin it in every way we can to try to cause doubt and manipulate the public mind over whether or not our brave pilots were successful. How many stories have been written about how hard it is to, fly a plane for 36 hours? Has MSNBC done that story? Has Fox? Have we done the story how hard that is? Have we done it 2 or 3 times so that American people understand? How about how difficult it is to shoot a drone from an F-15 or 16 or F-22 or F-35? I think it's too much to ask, unfortunately, for the fake news. So we're used to that. But we also have an opportunity to stand at the podium and read the truth of what's really happening. And the reality is you want to call it destroyed, you want to call it defeated, you want to call it obliterated. Choose your word.
We wiped out the nuclear capability of Iran, obliterated it. It was obliterated like nobody's ever seen before.
I would say it's set back permanently.
That place is under rock. That place is demolished. They're never going to have nuclear. Their radar is 100% annihilated.
Choose your word.
Have you ever seen a more unbalanced, unhinged, emotionally unstable person leading the Pentagon, especially during war times? I haven't. Yelling at the press for using Trump's own words, Hegseth is in over his head. Impeach him before he costs more American lives. Either that or before he appoints Jack Daniels and Captain Morgan as his top 2 generals. We know that's coming. So here you have a man grossly unqualified for this position, which we knew at the beginning, endangering American lives by purging the military during war times, openly ceding that we don't respect the rules of engagement, making life more dangerous even for us.
This some more bullshit.
But then have the audacity to stop the promotion of others while touting a merit-based system. Black MAGA, have y'all given me an explanation yet? Let me help y'all, because y'all have missed so much.
Fallout over DEI after the Air Force removed training courses with videos of the Tuskegee Airmen, the nation's first black military pilots who served in the segregated World War II unit, and the women Air Force service pilots, the female World War II pilots, who were vital in ferrying warplanes for the military. The removal comes in response to the Trump administration's crackdown on diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. In a statement, the nonprofit created to talk about this and preserve the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen condemned the move, writing in part, quote, "We call upon the President and the Secretary of Defense to immediately rescind this action and provide clear guidance to all government agencies."
Now, here's the thing, Pete Hegseth. I know it felt good to stand on stage and rail against woke and the war on DEI. And I know it felt good to stop the promotions of those black and female officers. I know all that felt good, the warrior ethos. I'm sure it did. It felt good as that happy hour. You know what I'm saying? I know that felt good to you. But here's the thing. For you to be this unqualified coming in and then engage in this level of folly in just a year and change, you have become a complete liability to all of the virtues that you extol. You trying to ensure that the military history of this country, and dare I say the general history of this country, is focused on men who look like you, focuses the spotlight ever more brightly on your own misdeeds. In other words, can't be no white supremacy long as you round.
DEI white men have showed up in my comments. Let me just make this clear. We all know you guys have most of your jobs because of white supremacy DEI, because you're a white man. We know that. White women, we benefited really well from actual DEI, for sure, and from our proximity to white supremacists. Men, of course. That's why you guys get so mad when I talk about this stuff, because you see me and you're like, wow, I know, isn't that a... Either way, we all know you guys are underqualified. So you can say racist stuff like it's okay for the NFL to have a majority black workforce and labor force, but not have equivalent representation in coaching and front offices and ownership. You could say that, but what we actually know is going on is that you are terrified of the idea of actually needing to be qualified, the most qualified person in a room, in a league, in a company. All you have is the lore passed down to you by your shitty racist families that you are entitled to something. And so when the Attorney General of Florida, who spent the better part of the last decade looking at the bottom of the stiletto boots that Ron DeSantis wears, when he sees an opportunity, he's going to grab it. He's going to grasp at that. Because you guys are the most insecure losers on the planet. The only way you stay on top is by making sure other people don't have a shot at it. But we all know it. There's no turning back. There's no way for you to make us unknow that you are very often the least intelligent people in rooms, very often the most entitled, right? And sometimes you guys don't even know that because you think you've done so much work to get where you got. It's actually like watching a little kid, like so proud of building a sandcastle. Like they are architects of a real home because that's the only thing they have to compare it to. They don't know what it takes to actually build a house. The sandcastle is the closest thing they've ever come. So I get why you think you're all so qualified. No one's ever told you you're not, and you've never actually had to work your way through a system twice, 3 times, 10 times as hard. So of course you fucking feel oppressed by any idea of equality. And I know every time you hear a white person, a white man or woman say something like this, call us out on our own shit, on our own white shit, you think that there's been some sort of mystical spell cast upon me. Because that's the only way you would ever betray your own whiteness. You would only ever betray your own whiteness because of sex, attraction, power, right? That's the only way you would ever consider not leaning into your perceived white supremacy. No matter what the NFL does, no matter what these industries do, no matter how many times you try to stack the deck even more, it's not going to change the fact that we know you guys are losers.
Ooh, boy. Ooh. Hey, Pete. You might want to offer her a job. That was better than anything I've ever heard you say from the podium. I'm just playing, you know. female and all. I know how that goes. Now, as bad as things are for the soldiers that are currently in place, it's just as bad for the veterans. This is officially the single worst administration for veterans in American history. Trump was warned this would happen. He did it anyway. Now over 10,000 veterans lost their homes. 90,000 more are on track for foreclosure. On top of cutting jobs, slashing benefits, and throwing our heroes into an unnecessary war, the most anti-veteran president in history. The Trump administration has abruptly ended a Veterans Affairs home loan safety net, causing thousands of veterans to lose their homes or pay a higher mortgage rate. Quote, it hurts paying $3,200 a month. Now, one of the things that I have said previously as I've sat in this spot is I don't play when it comes to respect of the veterans. I have railed against cuts to the VA before. I've talked about the bait and switch that comes with what they were promised and what they get when they come home. Not only what's happening now, but going back historically. I've been talking about this since I was working in local news. At the same time, this cannot be ignored. 65% of veterans voted for this administration. So help me out here, because I've also done whole videos on Trump's wild disrespect of veterans, his wanton disregard for soldiers. I mean, you can't disrespect the military any more than putting this guy in charge. That's how much he respects the military. And don't get me started with them drones. That might be a whole I seen Eric and Don Jr. over there with them drones. I got 30 on that. Don't worry, I can circle back around. What would Trump have had to do for that to land? What hasn't he already said? What indignity hasn't he already thrown your way for any of this to have landed when you had an opportunity to avoid it? And now we are left in a situation where we are all, and by all, I mean current soldiers, past soldiers, people not in the military, elderly, kids, men, women, black, white, don't matter. We are currently engaged in a war and a military purge at the same time. Remember that whole thing about how it always gets worse? I just told Pete Hegseth, I said, why would you just openly tell people about the rules of engagement, like openly? This all happening openly as well. The regime change happened successfully from the Iran embassy. They trolling y'all crazy. You know what I mean? They trolling, they trolling y'all. Y'all walk right into that one. Y'all walk right into that one. And you can tell they got their ear to the ground, because when they did that past Lego video and black people were ignored, they hit us with the Malcolm X way and for the stolen blacks. So I know they be paying attention. Next thing I know, they're going to be going in on Pete Hegseth directly.
Hey, breaking news. Good morning. Just woke up. New Lego diss track just dropped specifically for Pete Hegseth.
Your tattoo covered clown with that cafe ink on your arm. Think you a crusader? Nah, just a drunk infidel in the fake uniform.